What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my take. Today I want to talk about domestic violence, and it comes from a call that I had last night, which was very difficult. As some of you may know, I do work the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and we service crisis lines throughout the United States, but this specific call was a 988 call. And without saying too much, I pretty much witnessed abuse on the phone while we were speaking. And it was one of those moments where time stops, and in that moment I just kind of felt helpless. The abuser did disconnect the call, and I was just so shaken up by it. I was, shaking and crying and just trying to figure out what the next steps are according to our protocol. And I had to debrief with my manager because I really just could not get myself together. I mean, thankfully, this was my last call. It was the end of my shift, and we just had to go through our protocols and figure out what the next steps were, since there were kids involved. And it was a long night, to say the least. And it's just been on my mind, of course, because, once you disconnect with someone, one of the most difficult things is you don't really know what happens after. I mean, you can send dispatch out to them. You can, you can even give, I was even able to give her the resource that she needed as far as a safe house for her situation. And you just never know the outcome of those types of things. You don't know if they're safe. You don't get to reach back out to dispatch to say, hey, what happened when you got to the home? I mean, we just don't know. And that part always sticks with me. And it just really sucks, because people are going through so much, and you just never know what someone is going through. And that's why I always like to be kind when I'm in public, even if it's somebody who is aggressive or, they're agitated. I understand now that it may be something that they're going through. It's not necessarily you, so I try not to take things personal when I'm out in public. But the topic of domestic violence, I was thinking to speak on, Diddy and Cassie before this even happened. But I was also trying to think of what angle I wanted to talk about when it comes to domestic violence. I myself was in a situation at one point that I had to get out of. And one of the things that people always say, even in the Cassie and Diddy situation, why did she stay? Why did she deal with him for so long? Why didn't she just get out? And it's questions like that make people stay. I feel like some people stay in those situations because they don't want to hear the I told you so's, or the you should have left sooner, or if it was me, I would have done this. When you're dealing with that type of traumatic situation, that's the last thing that you want to hear. And people don't understand how their unsolicited advice or their opinions about what you're going through, just how much you're a part of the problem, just as much as the abuser. And it could be 1,000,001 reasons why someone stays. Maybe they don't have the circumstances to leave, whether that's finances, whether that's their children. It could be 1,000,000 different reasons why they stay, and 1,000,000 different reasons or concerns that they have once they leave. And just think about a tough decision that you had to make, how long it took you to make it, what things you had to consider. That will hold up the amount of time that you leave that situation, whether that's a relationship, a job, the friends that you have. So I feel like it's so unfair for people to butt in and say, what they would have done in that situation, because you don't know. You really don't. And my advice to you is to just shut up just mind your business and shut up. I'm pretty sure that's what, victims that are dealing with this and questioned about the who, what, when, and where, of their situation, they think the same thing. Just shut up. And it's one of those things where you know that it happens, and you know that it happens, and you know that there are people who are suffering in silence. You know that these people may or may not have support. You know that it's happening, and the part that sucks is that you want to make a difference in the world, but then you can't help everyone, especially someone who's not in the position to be helped at the time, or you just can't shield the world from hurt and pain and even death. It's like, it's inevitable. It's gonna happen. And I know there's someone somewhere wondering, like, why me? Like, what did I do to deserve this? Or maybe I do deserve this. And I like to think sometimes that bad things happen to good people all the time. You just may be one of them. I don't know what the lesson is behind it. I don't know who's being used to help someone else, but that why we don't always get to know. And I think that's why questioning a victim, unless you're trying to genuinely help them, is unnecessary, because that why is something that you may never know. The why is maybe something that you don't understand, and it's not your place to understand. But it's tough, and that call really did, it made me wake up with so much, gratefulness and gratitude that I'm not in that type of situation, and that I can go home peacefully and not have to worry about if someone is gonna come and abuse me or my kids. And everyone doesn't get that luxury. They are in those situations, and they're trying to find a way out, and they don't have the support. And in the case last night, the support was there, but so was the abuser. And I pray to God that that person is able to get out of that situation. I hope that nothing terrible happened last night, and I pray for the kids as well, being that they were there at the time. And just be kind. Just be kind to people. You just never know. And you don't want to be the last straw as to why they feel like defeated and that they don't want to be here anymore. Because everyone's home is not their peace. Sometimes their peace is anywhere but home. So when they do come out in public, and maybe they're, nasty, or maybe they're, not even functioning, they look zombie-like, but it never hurts. It costs $0 to say hi to somebody and smile, or, if you feel like you want to ask them if they're okay. You just never know what somebody is going through. And it always makes me think of the suicide survivor Kevin Hines, when he jumped off the Golden State Bridge, and he was one of very few survivors. And I actually went to a conference at Carroll Community College. I went to a conference. He was there talking about his story. I believe it was for Mental Health Awareness Month. It was a few years back, and he just went through what his entire day was before he actually jumped. And it was so many times that he could have been saved. Essentially he was saved, but there were so many times that he probably wouldn't have went forward with his suicide attempt. And he talked about how, that morning he just wanted someone to ask him if he was okay, and it just didn't happen. And he was on the bus, and people weren't like saying stuff, I guess, about the way that he looked or whatever, and no one asked if he was okay. And literally right before he jumped, there was a lady who I guess wasn't reading the room, that, you know, maybe he was, you know, not looking normal, maybe too close to the edge. I mean, I don't remember like exactly where he said he was standing when this lady came up to him, but she was like, he said this very moment he thought that someone was finally going to ask him, are you okay, right before he jumped. And you know what she asked him? Can you take a picture for me? And he took the picture for her, and then not too long after that, he jumped. And when you hear the story, when you hear him tell the story, it's just like chills, that sometimes we're so unaware of what someone's body language is, so unaware of like how people may feel, and we're so at times self-absorbed or worried about what we're doing, that you don't even notice that the person next to you wants to kill themselves and doesn't want to be here anymore. And it's just even hard to even think about the what ifs of that call last night. It will take me down a rabbit hole that I don't want to go into. Like, I don't know how long I cried last night just trying to pray and get myself together because I had to work the next morning. But I just want to tell anyone, if you're in a situation and you're suffering in silence, you know, there are some resources out there. You can have access to them. You can dial 988 if you have to. And, you know, there are people and agencies that are put in place to help you get out of those situations with no questions asked, no judgment. And I hope that, you know, anyone out there, if you need the help, if you're ready for the help, you do reach out and, you know, get the help that you need. But that is my take on domestic violence. And just be kind, everyone. Be kind even if you don't feel kind. Be kind, because you never know, and you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be the reason why that person continues to feel defeated. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and until next time.